Non-duality is bad. Let's take a look at some quotes from popular non-duality authors to help illustrate the points that I've made in previous installments about why non-duality is bad. Please exercise your critical mind and fasten your seatbelts. We'll begin with Adyashanti. His given name is Steve Gray. He calls himself Adyashanti, which is Sanskrit, and to me it sounds like a dietary supplement. Like, I lost 20 pounds on Adyashanti. Here's the quote. Adyashanti says, "There is no one who is aware. Awareness itself is itself. You are now no longer the thought, nor the thinker, nor someone who is aware. Only awareness remains as itself. Then within awareness, thought moves. Within the changeless, change happens. The changeless is changing, the eternal is living and dying, the formless is form, the form is formless." Sounds like a contradiction to me. That's what I say. How about Robert Adams? Robert Adams says, "You should not try to analyze the thing at all. Everything will work out, whether it's good or bad, whether you're making something out of it or not, whether it's in your favor or against you. All that has got to go." It sounds like a car salesman's got to go. Robert Adams says, "We're trying to transcend the whole ball of wax, to go beyond. And that's what happens when you live spontaneously. It happens by itself." Robert Adams says, "Those of us who have come here," to the talk that he's giving, "have not come by action or choice. We are here because that's where we are supposed to be. And I'm here because it's where I'm supposed to be. I never chose to be a teacher. I never chose to be anything. I'm here, and you are here. So what are we going to do about it? Why complain?" Robert Adams goes on to say, "There is no choice, period, except not to react to conditions and not to identify with the body. If it were not for this, we would be automatons, but we are not. Be aware of what is in us, the reality that allows this choice not to identify with the body or to react to conditions. Everything else is predetermined." So, he has his cake and eats it. It's all predetermined except when you choose it not to be. Robert Adams says, "I hate using words like preordained because you may say to yourself, 'It is preordained, I might as well enjoy it and will continue to take drugs.' You have to be careful what you say. It is preordained to the extent that you identify with the situation. As soon as you start to identify with the self, with total awareness, things begin to change. They have to." Robert Adams says, "Don't get too technical. Simplicity and realization are synonymous. You don't need to read Advaita, get into all kinds of concepts and meditations and things we have to do. Just calmly realize there is nothing to realize. Be free of the whole thing." Moving on, Tony Parsons. Tony Parsons says, "When it is suddenly and directly rediscovered by no one, that liberation brings with it the realization that there is nothing to seek and no one to become liberated, then there is much laughter." Ha ha. Tony Parsons says, "All there is this. Oneness is being this. Whatever is apparently happening, reading these words, breathing, blood coursing through the body, sounds being heard, thoughts coming and going, and feelings in the body, the sense of sitting on a seat maybe, here is oneness, being alive as this. There is no person that becomes enlightened. No one awakens. Awakening is the absence of the illusion of individuality. Already there is only awakenness, oneness, timeless being, radical aliveness. When the dream seeker is no more, it is seen by no one that there is nothing to seek and no one to become liberated. Tony Parsons says, anything can happen, nothing is denied. The difference between the liberated one, or rather liberation, and individuality is that when an emotion like anger arises, it just arises for no one. But all the time there's an individual who thinks it's his anger, that happening to him, that he owns it. In individuality, there's always an ownership of everything. In liberation, there's no one that owns the anger. But still the anger can arise, as it did before, for no one. In individuality, the so-called person keeps thinking it's happening to him. In liberation, it's simply anger happening to no one. Okay. Again, Tony Parsons says, in liberation there is no one there to communicate things. There's no agenda, there's no motive, there's just what's happening. So there's no motivation to capture people or to make people believe this or that. It's just someone standing there, responding and speaking without any idea of going anywhere. To wrap up on Tony Parsons, he says, I never know what I'm going to say. Tony Parsons, the character, is amazed at what comes out. Well, we're amazed too, Tony. Pretty amazing. Leo Hartong. Leo Hartong says, enlightenment is the realization that there is no you to get enlightened. Okay. Leo says, we ignore the awareness that is the permanent background to all phenomena. Furthermore, Leo says, awareness remains pure and unaffected by its content. Now, consider, this is me speaking now, consider drowsiness and sleep, and then ask yourself if awareness is the permanent background of these. Ask yourself if awareness remains pure and unaffected by chronic thought and identification. Leo Hartong goes on to say, awareness is the non-dual space that sustains both the noticed and the ignored. This is me now asking, what's the relationship between awareness and something that is ignored? Leo Hartong says, awareness is as much in the body-mind as the body-mind is in awareness. Compare it to a clay pot which contains space and at the same time is contained by space. Breaking the pot will not affect the space. Well, remember my illustration of the glass bowl. Consider this. Does awareness exist independent of the body-mind? Does awareness contain the sleeping body? Does awareness remain unaffected by sleep? Please think critically on these observations, because when you do, you may find that what many of these people are asserting is simply false.